Hello, I'm called Andy. Welcome to part 2 of the broadcast trailer tutorial, and we're just going to bring in the passes that we rendered out of Cinema 4D and composite them in After Effects. So let's grab the After Effects file, double click, and that's going to import. So we have our main project. And I'm just going to delete these cameras that we won't need. I don't think we'll need that either, so they can go. Let's give it a name, Apple K, to bring up the composition settings. TV, now, next, later will do. Yeah, okay. So what do we need to do here? We can use these passes that we rendered out, the object IDs, object buffers, to color correct just specific areas. So with this one we can just affect the now. So let's organize them into separate compositions so that we can easily see what they are, because that name doesn't mean too much at the moment. So we'll create a new composition, hit Apple K, call it text now. I'm just going to go through and do the same thing for the boxes, clones and carpet and the rest of the text. So here we go. Alright, good stuff. Let's close these and get back to our main project. Might just duplicate this, pre-comp this as well, and call this beauty. Oops. Right. Let's put all of these into a new folder. Pre-comps. And now we can bring them into our main composition. So what I'm going to do now is just set up the track mats. So we choose a Luma mat. You can see now that TV now is just isolated. So let's duplicate Apple D and do the same for the other passes. So we'll come back to individual color corrections, but for now we just need to get in the titles of the shows. So let's do that now. Let's create a new solid. I'm going to use just an off-white solid, and add a mask. You can double click and that will add a rectangle around. To make things easier to line up, we're going to show the title action safe area, and I'm just going to resize the mask just to about here. If you hold down the command button, it'll do both sides, and right about there. Hit enter. And now let's add some text. Just dragging out the text tool. Let's type Family Guy. Hit Command Enter. Okay. Let's bring that in a bit. Hitting the V key and Just using the arrows just to line this up. Let's bring it in. Something around there. Now we want our mask to animate on. Let's just hide this for now. So let's get that done. If you do Apple Shift and then forward arrow, that will jump us forward 10 frames. Let's add a keyframe for the mask as it is at the moment. So go back to the beginning and let's double click the mask and we'll bring this all the way back to here. I'm just going to shift that over a frame. There we go. Let's lower the opacity of this. Hit T on the keyboard and we'll add, let's say 70. So let's make the Family Guy text fade in around about here. So again, T on the keyboard for opacity, 0, add a keyframe, Apple Shift / to jump forward 10 frames, and we'll type 100. So let's preview that. Just yeah, I think that's fine. Let's move on to the next section. I think actually we want them to animate off as the camera moves, so let's just get that done. The camera's moving there. Let's just have them fade out. Keyframe and another keyframe. And let's jump forward 10 frames. 0. And they're gone. So we can select both layers, hit Alt and then forward bracket to shorten the length of the layer. And let's color code those a blue. Okay. So next we've got Dexter. I think we should bring in the title for this around here. So let's just duplicate the frames, the layers that we have. And I'm just holding down Alt and then forward bracket to bring them to the top of the stack. And let's hold down Shift and just bring them there. Oops. Family frame. So let's type Dexter and give it a kind of, pinky sort of colour. And for this is a later show, so let's add another text field. I think we want it to be a bit smaller. I think actually what we're going to have to do is undoing here. We need to move this up. Duplicate the layer, bring it down 9 PM. Let's give it a grey, maybe a darker, There we go. We're going to have to change our box shape. So hit M and now what we're going to do is delete this first keyframe and then bring that back. And we'll do that. Should disappear as we move away. There you go, just tweaking the position of it. Give those a fuchsia colour. Let's duplicate those layers, Apple D, and then hold down the command key and hit the forward bracket, and we can hold down shift and that will just bring it over. And for our later we'll have 10 PM. Oops, wrong layer. Double click, Breaking Bad. Oops. Also give that a green colour. We don't want these to animate off at the end. So let's go back to here and kill the opacity. It's just selecting all and hitting delete or backspace. Alright. So now let's add some general colour correction to this scene. So a new adjustment layer. And let's add curves effect. Okay. I think now we can tweak our individual passes. So let's go back and let's add another curves effect. So we want that a bit brighter. I think actually our curves are blowing this out way too much. Okay. There we are, that's nice. And the text for next. Yeah. Ah, that's what's the problem. Yeah, okay. So our text for next. Something like that. And later, the curves effect. Something like that. Let's try and get these boxes matched up. You see, the one at the beginning is pretty dark. That's pretty dark. And this one's a bit brighter. So I think our later box will add a curves effect and just darken that down. Now for the carpet, I want to brighten that up a bit. Another curves effect. Oops. We need to add it on the beauty. Make sure we do that, otherwise I won't see anything. Actually, where is it? It's about there. That's not too bad actually as it is. Just soloing the layer just so we can see what's going on. Let's bring back the rest of the comp. Yeah, I'm starting to like the look of that. Okay. For our clones, let's just see where we're at with those. Yeah, not too bad, but let's just add a little bit. Just taking the blacks into the blue. And a bit more contrast. Cool. Now, I want to add a bit of colour correction, like a ramp, just to affect the overall thing. So we'll do a new solid. Let's call this ramp. And effect, generate ramp, which is a radial ramp. I want the start colour to be a kind of grey, and I want the end colour just to be not quite black. And we're going to use an expression on the start of the ramp. So hold down Alt, click the stopwatch, and expression in square brackets will be width, comma, height, oops, close square brackets, divided by 2. I spelt height wrong. There we are, and that just puts our white area in the middle. So I'm just gonna use this, just dragging along the end of the ramp to create a nice vignette. If we set it to overlay, the overlay's there. You can see now we're getting a nice kind of nice effect. Just drag that out a bit more. Might just drop the opacity a touch. So 75 looks good. Yeah, it's looking good. Let's add another adjustment layer. And we'll add some noise. About 6% will do. That's a fair bit, maybe just 4%. And I think that's about it. Should we name this layer noise? And what we're going to do is add some depth of field. So let's create a new solid and we'll name it depth. And we'll add a ramp effect, so generate ramp. And we're going to pre-compose this layer and making sure that we move all the attributes into the new composition. So let's shut that layer off. We don't need it. Don't need it visible anyway. Let's add a new adjustment layer and apply the, in my opinion, the best depth of field plugin for After Effects. It's Frischlift depth of field. So we'll just choose select our depth layer from the drop-down menu, and now we'll select a depth about there. We want to increase the radius so we can see the effect of the plugin, and you can see that happening, but our titles are being affected, so we don't want that. Let's move the adjustment layer below them and just name it DOF for depth of field. And what I want to do is keyframe the depth, so let's just see what's sharp. You can just do that, move it up a touch, and let's just add some keyframes for the focal point there. Just move it down a bit. Let's go along, and we want it to be up. And we want it to be in the same place, so let's hit U to reveal the keyframes and add another one. Moving along, let's bring it down. And finally, move it up. Let's see if that's in the right place. Not quite, so just back to our keyframe and up a touch more. That looks good. Now let's choose back normal blur. Yeah. So I think I'm going to do a run preview now so we can see the final result. So now our RAM preview is complete. Let's watch it through. And the depth really just gives it that extra something. Just gives it a much more polished and complete feel. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's the end of the tutorial. Thank you very much for following along. I know it's been fairly long, probably nearing on an hour and a half, but yeah, this is the third one really, and I think thanks for your support. If you'd like to see more, then I have a Vimeo page, obviously, it's I'm Called Andy, and the tutorials will always be on the I'm Called Andy Tutes channel. If you want to follow me, it's at I'm Called Andy on Twitter. So that's it. Thanks a lot, guys, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them as best I can. Bye.